Thank you, honorable members. And let me begin by apologizing for I have a cold. Munisamehe. Honorable speakers, honorable members of the National Assembly, honorable members of the Senate, first and foremost, I take this opportunity to thank God for the gift of a great country filled with the bounty that we need and also continued peace. I also thank all Kenyans for expressing in a very mature and patient manner their sovereign will during the just concluded general elections. Millions of voters stood in long queues in the sun and rain, some hungry and thirsty, in their quest to express their democratic choice. I offer indeed to all you honorable members my heartfelt congratulations on being elected to Parliament. Honorable speakers, honorable members, by our Constitution and our traditions, you represent the sovereign will and aspirations of millions of Kenyans. I wish all of you every success in fulfilling your very important national duty over the next 5 years. I urge you to never forget that we are here representing the Kenyan people who have an urgent need for governance that delivers to them peace, security, and indeed prosperity. I also take this opportunity to celebrate the women of Kenya who continue to demonstrate leadership throughout the country. 3 women were elected governors, while others won positions as senators, members of parliament, and members of county assemblies. Indeed, one of our women, who is handicapped, also managed to secure the seat of women rep in Kajiado, and that is congratulations. Today I am proud as a Kenyan for the gains that we have made in promoting inclusion of women into elected office. I am proud because I have great confidence in Kenya's women and a deep faith in their capacities and capabilities. However, we must still recognize that as important as these gains are, we must accept that we still have much more work to do to increase their participation in national leadership. Let me also salute the very large number of young people who have come to elected office. I am very glad that the Kenyan people are also willing to give our youth opportunities to offer leadership. The young men and women elected to Parliament and other offices have a special responsibility to represent the aspirations of the majority who are youth, aspirations for employment opportunities, better service delivery by both the national and county governments. Honorable members, let me also take this opportunity to thank the honorable members from the 11th Parliament who made their mark on our country's history. They will forever be remembered for the way they steered and entrenched devolution in our country. Within a relatively short time, we as a nation were able to adopt and execute a devolution process that elsewhere in the world has taken a much longer period of time. This historic achievement was made possible by the constant productive consultations and indeed collaboration between the legislature and the executive. Our 10th Parliament delivered a new constitution. The 11th Parliament implemented that constitution and entrenched devolution as an institutional framework for driving our development agenda as a nation. Honorable members, the 12th Parliament has been sworn into office at an important constitutional moment that requires all of us to uphold the democracy, the supremacy of the Constitution and its institutions. This, however, does not mean always having it your way. As you well know, we still have to undertake a fresh presidential election following the verdict of the Supreme Court. Even though I strongly disagreed with that decision, I accepted it because of my respect for our Constitution and its institutions. I have previously demonstrated this fidelity to the best interest of the Kenyan people, as happened when I conceded the loss of an election in 2002. And you will also recall that I heeded the summons from a foreign court, even though I knew I was answering trumped-up charges. You, in turn, as honorable members of Parliament, must be steadfast in protecting our Constitution as the critical base for assuring our people sustained peace, security, and prosperity. As a country, we spent more than 2 decades trying to craft a new constitutional order that maps our state organs and processes and thus provides certainty and predictability to our national life. In our current circumstances, the elections that we held on the 8th of August, the swearing in of governors, members of the Senate and National Assembly, as well as our county assemblies, the verdict of the Supreme Court, the call for fresh elections on the 17th of October. With all this in mind, my address to you this afternoon, it must be clear that the set term of a president is embedded until a new one is sworn in. All of these are part of our laid down constitutional processes. So therefore, honorable members and fellow Kenyans, no matter the political noises that are often loudest during elections, I want to assure every single Kenyan and the world that every arm of government is in place and operational. Let no one, for a single moment, envision that there is a void. There is no lacuna. Kenya is progressing along the path drawn for it by our Constitution. Honorable members, at this juncture, I would like to make it abundantly clear that my government will not tolerate anyone intent on disrupting our hard-won peace and stability. Under no circumstance must Kenyans ever allow our free, competitive processes to become a threat to the peace and security of our nation. Our region, and indeed in many parts of the world, history is littered with broken and miserable countries who fail to draw the distinction between vibrant, democratic competition and destructive division. And whereas we shall continue to encourage vibrant, democratic competition, we shall not allow destructive division. In this regard, I urge all political leaders to avoid engaging in divisive and destructive politics that have no place in a modern Kenya. For my part, I know that my most serious obligation is to sustain and protect the peace and security of all our people without exemption. We are now headed into a fresh presidential election that our Electoral Commission has scheduled for the 17th of October. The Kenyan people will again affirm their choice of who they want to serve as their president. And let me say that this is not a choice between two individuals. Most importantly, it is the transfer of the people's sovereign will to an office that is the symbol of national unity, that protects our security, and is key to delivering development and prosperity. Kenyans will line up again on the 17th of October. The marks that millions of voters will make on the ballot paper will represent far more than the desires of politicians. As Kenyans did on the 8th of August, they will vote for different candidates. But almost every single man and woman in Kenya will be using the vote to seek the same things: a better livelihood, access to good health care, a more promising future for their children, decent jobs for all those willing to work, and security for all. It must be understood that marked ballots represent more than technology, more than computer systems or even where papers were printed. The mark is the choice. The mark is a choice of a sovereign people. Their choice is sacred and must never again be frustrated or ignored. Honorable members, as we move forward during this momentous time, you, as newly elected leaders, must firmly take your place in the governing of this great nation. Your promise to the electorate were turned into a solemn oath last week in which you swore to bear true faith and allegiance to the people and the Republic of Kenya, and that you would obey, respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and that you would faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a Member of Parliament. Honorable members, in the coming days, you will be called upon to be true to that oath, and I urge you to do your duty. It is the same oath that I made when I became President and Commander-in-Chief. Kenyans expect us to understand the weight of responsibility in living up to our oath and having wisdom and clarity as we carry out our duties. It is indeed no accident that the first two articles of our Constitution declare that the sovereignty of the people is exercised through their elected representatives, and that Parliament represents the diversity of the nation. These words represent the hard sacrifices and hopes of generations of Kenyans who fought to earn the right to govern themselves and to freely choose their representatives. That history places a profound responsibility on the members of this House to protect this Constitution and to promote the democratic governance of our Republic. Honorable members, the separation of powers of the three arms of government is a critical constitutional principle in protecting the liberty of our people. But given the complexity of the public issues that the three arms of government, as well as constitutional commissions, have to handle, they must work together willingly, even as they respect each other's functional independence. Equally important, the three arms are supposed to be free, and I repeat, free from intimidation or control by any foreign or domestic actors and any special interest groups. Every Kenyan official who serves in these arms of government and commissions must be constantly on the lookout for any actions that undermine their independence, and they should seek that undertaking as a sacred task on behalf of the Kenyan people that have given them and that require that they constantly remember and affirm in word and deed that the people of Kenya are sovereign. No technicality, no conference, no process, no power, no influence should ever stand in the way of that sovereign will. The Kenyan people expect every arm and institution of government to work together for them. Parliament directly represents the people, and it is you, honorable members, who must constantly remind all of us about the needs and aspirations of the people who sent you here. Honorable speakers, honorable members, our country is at a defining moment during which we are called upon to rise to our wisest, to be at our most generous, and indeed to be at our most honest. Every member of this august House represents the full and beautiful diversity of our nation. From Mombasa to Malaba, from Namanga to Moyale, we may speak different languages, we may worship differently, we may live in different parts of our country, but we must accept that we are all one people, children of Kenya. The success of our nation is the love that each and every one of us and each and every one of our people has for this country. Indeed, yes, we must all love Kenya, and Kenya must always come first. Honorable members, this august House must stand for that unity and must rise to the promises that we have made to the people of this great nation. Nothing can come second to that. Finally, and in conclusion, honorable speakers and members, let me once again emphasize that we must work together to serve our people. We must understand that the future prosperity, peace, and security of our beloved nation is firmly but safely in our hands. May God bless you, the 12th Parliament, as you start your work. You can count on my 110% support. And I thank you and wish you God's blessings, and may God bless this great nation of Kenya. Thank you.